So let's talk a little bit about how to use the ViperSharp. Just go over the basics and give you a clear understanding of what you're going to do to sharpen your knives, how to get the angles right, and just go through some of those details. So let's start with some of the basics and just talk a little bit about what we've got here. So the main system includes the base. We've got the ViperSharp base that has holes to screw it down to a bench if you'd like to. One underneath the receiving hole for the outer sleeve. We have one for each side here as well. Here we have the adjustable inner post. This post will adjust to pretty much any angle you need for your knife. And so you've got the ability to adjust angles. You'll have a steel plate on the top of the stone carriage right here that will allow you to attach a magnetic digital angle finder on there so you can get the exact angle that you'd like to have. And this model will go generally between about 10%-12% angle up to 35-40% if you really want to. Okay. I find that most of my knives I'm sharpening at about a 20% angle is what I tend to like with my everyday carry pocket knives. That might be a little different with your chef knives or other kitchen knives, or with your straight razors, of course. When you work on a straight razor, that's going to be a little different. We have with the clamping system a removable clamp. Will slide out of the side and turn over so that you can put it in and do the other side of the knife. It is designed so that the angle is exactly the same when you flip that over. So your angle on your blade is going to be exactly the same. Okay. You can clamp this down to a table if you'd like. I'll show you that right here. So if we want to just clamp that to the edge of the table, we can just throw a clamp on there on really any position of that, any direction, and have that clamped down solid. You also have the ability to use the screw holes, screw hole here and here on either of those corners, as you can see there, and also one underneath this. There you can see the 3 spots. And so we've got 3 spots that you can actually anchor it down if you want to just anchor it. We're just going to use a clamp here today. The stone carriage will have a knob that rises away from the stone, so you'll be able to control that without having your fingers down close to the stone and the knife, so you're not worried about cutting your fingers. Our design on the stones is going to be like that, just a simple little, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to pull that off, just a little bit there. Take that out and put in the new stone for the next grit, and just push that up, it'll snap right on. And you'll have everything from a coarse grit up to a fine. Generally 3 grits is going to be sufficient for you. Snap that into place and you're ready to go. So coarse grit you're going to use if you want to really reprofile your knife. If the knife doesn't need a lot of reprofiling, then we might use a soft Arkansas to just get the edge where we want it, or a black Arkansas to put the final touches on it. So how do we put the knife in? Pretty simple and straightforward. We're going to loosen this screw there and set your blade. Now with each blade you'll want to get familiar and get comfortable with what will work. I'm going to show you an overhead view of this and we'll go ahead and tighten this down. You will have the Allen wrench come in there and a note of the size if you ever need to replace it. So you just tighten that down, and you can tighten that as much as you want. We've got the rubber grips on the inside of that, so even if you don't have a flat edge, an edge like this on the FireSpark and some of the edges on your Spyderco knives, it'll still grip it just fine. So any knife you need to have grip there, it will grip it. So you'll place that in there. And then any of your standard techniques are going to work just fine to sharpen that blade. If you want to use an angle finder and choose your exact angle, you can do that. If you want to find the angle with a magic marker on the edge of the blade and test until you know you've got the right angle there, you can. But it's easy to adjust that with the adjustable post there. So, and you can go quite low, as you can see here. I'm almost all the way down in and not touching the edge of the clamp here. And that's part of the design, something that I really wanted to do to get that nice flat edge on things. So that's how you use the ViperSharp. When you're ready to sharpen the other side, you simply pull that out, flip it over, and slide it in there, and then continue on the other side of the knife.